from Morocco need to adapt their education to suit the Canadian job market. If you can't read, speak, and write French or English well, your job opportunities will be limited. People like Mohammed continued to study to improve their language skills even after they found work. There are a variety of language training opportunities. They may be offered by the government, school boards, community colleges, or universities.
It is not unusual for people to change jobs and occupations. As Abukar from Ethiopia found out, your first job will probably not be the job you will have for the rest of your life. You will probably need continued training and education. To take a training course, you may have to quit a job and make less money while you train, and you will have no guarantee of a new job when you finish. So it's a risk. Adults like these can attend high school at public expense if they require these levels of education. You need a high school education for most jobs, and further education at a college or university is necessary for technical and for professional careers. This will have to be paid for by the student or the family. Low-interest student loans are sometimes available. Exceptional students can win scholarships or grants for their studies.
For example, my daughter has just got 93.5. So she has all the scholarships that she wants. So I don't pay anything for her. And my son will follow her. So my investments, I have already started to take the fruits.
Many university students earn their tuition fees by working the summer months. People in some trades or professions who move from province to province may need to requalify. This can take time and is demanding. Meanwhile, the best advice is get a job, learn an official language, and upgrade your skills.
Getting used to life in our country can be difficult and will probably take some time. Newcomers adapt to Canadian ways, and Canadians adjust to the ways of newcomers. Next on our program, we'll take a look at job opportunities and what is required of you as you search for work in Canada.
I'm looking for a job in order to survive. I don't have very high ambition to get very, very rich and do that thing or this thing. No, money is needed for peaceful, to be happy.
Canada was built by people who worked hard, clearing the land for farming, building the railways, and establishing communities and businesses. Canadians believe in working, whether it's on the land, in a factory, an office, or in their own business.
Because our economy is subject to boom periods and to slumps, jobs are not always easy to find. But it is up to the individual to look for one. Your first job may not be the ideal job for you, but if you don't speak much English or French, it probably won't be the same kind of work you are used to. Newcomers often accept employment at a lower level than their occupation in their country of origin.
Well, you think that coming to Canada is going to change your life positively immediately, but it's not so like this, because it's really tough to get a job here. Even if you can speak English or German, for example, I speak German also, it's really difficult if you don't have the experience, the Canadian experience, or even if you can't speak English so well as the people here. Is really difficult.
Also in Ottawa is bilingual, so I found that difficult because after English, if you wanna get a good job or if you wanna work in the office, you have to be bilingual.
Présentement, je ne travaille pas, je suis en recherche d'emploi et parce que bien sûr j'ai une expérience qui est derrière moi, mais je pense que cette expérience doit être adaptée.
You know, it's like for a while I think it's not too bad because anyways we are new, we don't know the culture, probably we have problem with language, so it's good to start from survival job. Probably they don't expect much from you and that sort of job.
As you get more experience and you learn more English or French, you can apply for and get better jobs. And if it brings you into contact with people, it will help you learn your new language, which is important.
In the past, Canadians lived mainly off the land, and agriculture was our main occupation. Growing crops and raising animals on both huge and small farms is still very important. But so are natural resources such as oil and gas, mining and forestry. Most Canadians today live in cities and towns. It's a mixed economy, requiring many kinds of workers, some who are skilled and some who learn on the job. Canada's economy is based on supply and demand, so when a demand for a product falls off, factories shut down and workers lose their jobs and have to find new ones, perhaps by moving to another part of the country and learning new skills.
In order to work in Canada, you need to have a social insurance number. You can apply for a social insurance number or SIN number at a Service Canada office. Service Canada offices are located in most towns and cities. You should apply for your SIN right after you arrive. Even if you don't intend to work, you need a social insurance number for identification. The staff here will show you lists of jobs that are open, give you advice, and they may arrange for you to go and see an employer. However, you have to apply for the job yourself and convince the employer that you are the best person for that job. There may be reasons why you are unsuccessful in getting a job. Another applicant may have more experience or speak one of Canada's official languages better. The employer may want skills that you do not yet have. But you may also be just the person the employer is looking for. If so, be sure to get to work on time, and good luck.
Job seeking is a skill in itself. You need to prepare a resume. That's a list of your previous jobs, qualifications, education, interests, and references from former employers. You have to know what to say on the telephone when inquiring about a job. In today's Canada, women work beside men in many industries. In the past, some jobs were done only by men. Now, everyone can apply for a job if they have the necessary education and qualifications. It's another area where discrimination is being eliminated. Efforts are being made by the government to ensure that women and men of all races, colors, and cultures get their fair share of available jobs. However, they have to be qualified for these jobs and earn them through ability. Once you get the job, it's up to you to keep it and be promoted through good work. It is common for both women and men to work outside of the home, as it frequently takes two incomes to support a family. Many adults take part-time jobs. This allows them to study a language, trade, or profession as well as to work. It's also common for full-time workers to study part-time.
Children must attend school well into their teenage years. But that doesn't prevent them from working in the early mornings, evenings, or weekends. In Canada, as in some other countries, even children from wealthy families are encouraged to work part-time to develop a sense of responsibility and independence. Some children save for their university education, or they contribute to the family funds. There is no loss of social prestige in students working in low-paying jobs. This is a society where people can change jobs. Many professionals and executives are proud to say that they started at the bottom, doing low-paid jobs.
Skilled work usually pays better than unskilled work, although not always. Workers on projects in remote areas like the far north, where they have to live away from their families, are usually well paid for the hardships involved. If you have qualifications in a trade or profession, bring your papers with you, as well as any educational certificates. In most professions, employers will want to see how your qualifications compare with those required in Canada. They will want to see an assessment of your credentials to determine if your qualifications meet Canadian professional or trade standards. To work in Canada in a regulated profession or trade, you will first have to be certified or accredited in the province or territory where you intend to work. If you start the process of accreditation before you arrive, it may mean a shorter waiting period after you arrive in Canada. It is important to know that certification will not ensure that you will find work in your profession. Many immigrants take lower-paying jobs outside their profession to gain Canadian experience, and many others pursue further education or training to become certified to practice in their chosen field in Canada. Established Canadians, not just immigrants, may have to re-qualify if they move from province to province to live and work. Generally speaking, professionals and tradespeople have to re-qualify in order to work in different jurisdictions in Canada. They have to pay for this retraining themselves. Getting into a retraining program can be difficult and can take a long time.
I think if you are educated and you are experienced, when you come to Canada, you probably will go through more difficult time, and you know, it's difficult to find a career if you're expecting you start doing something that you were doing before.
I couldn't find a job of my aptitude, neither any job of my matching my qualification, or even I cannot use my transferable skills. That is the negative part.
You hear so much about the shortages in so many fields, and it's true, there are shortages in a lot of fields, but there are also regulatory bodies that and licensing processes where only so many spots are given out.
Once you get a job, you will find that there are a lot of deductions from your pay. Newcomers are often surprised to discover that approximately 1/4 of their pay is taken in taxes and compulsory deductions. There are minimum hourly wages, but again they differ from province to province. Nevertheless, no worker should be paid less than that hourly wage. Find out the minimum hourly wage in your province from an employment counselor. A work week is normally about 40 hours, and if you work extra hours, you should be paid extra. However, some newcomers are exploited because they are unaware of their rights, so you should find out. After you've worked a certain time for one employer, you are entitled to an annual vacation with pay. Workers are entitled to belong to a labor union, which is an association of employees formed to negotiate with the employers about working conditions. If negotiations fail, they can legally go on strike after a certain period. In any workplace where there is a union, you may have to pay dues to the union.
Another of the compulsory deductions from your paycheck is an amount for employment insurance. You may be eligible for employment insurance if you lose your job after having worked a required number of weeks. If you qualify for employment insurance, you will get a portion of your salary from the government. There is a waiting period before you start to get your employment insurance money. You will receive this money for a period of time while you're looking for a new job. It is your responsibility to find a new job as soon as possible. It's a fact of working life in Canada that people change jobs and are sometimes out of work for a time. This is because of the supply and demand of Canada's labour market. It's also caused by the climate. Industries such as agriculture and fishing are seasonal.
C'est toujours difficile, même dans notre pays c'est difficile de trouver parfois des emplois. Mais moi par exemple, je suis arrivée il y a 4 mois et j'ai obtenu un contrat.
One should be very much careful about what is your background, how good you are in official languages like English or in French, what skills you are bringing to Canada, what skills are required.